Hello and welcome to the Insecure Chef. We're back today here, Regina and I, in this ridiculously cold winter day. This weekend has had minus temperatures, wind chills at minus 15 and 20 degrees. So needless to say, we haven't moved out of the house. So today we're going to do a little dessert. We're going to be doing apple Blondie cupcakes. And as always, all the ingredients are on the channel. So we'll get started. I'm going to be mixing flour with several spices, which I've already mixed together just to save time. Okay, so I'm taking flour here, dumping it into this bowl. All right, and now I'm going to throw in the spices. And now we're just going to carefully mix this up. So I'm not sure, where you folks are located. I guess you could be anywhere in the world. I have been intrigued to see some folks coming in from various parts of Europe and as far as away as Australia, which is kind of nice. Of course, I'm not choked up with the Australian folks because it's becoming nice and warm in summer down there for them. So I'm not happy about that. But anyway, all right, I'm going to just give this a decent mix. All right. Now I've already melted the butter. It's a stick of butter is required. I've already melted that. You want that to be at room temperature before you actually use it. So melt it beforehand, and while you're doing this preparation, you can let that butter cool. Meanwhile, the oven has been preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to start with that. So we're going to move over to the other bowl, here the larger bowl, and here we're going to be mixing the melted butter with a cup of packed brown sugar. I'm putting that in now. Cup of packed brown is in there, and I'm going to throw in this butter, and then we're going to whisk this until it's mixed very well. All right, get that out of there. So I'm going to mix this around. Now this may take a few moments, more like a few minutes to get this in there. So you're welcome to stay with us, I guess. I would sing and dance to entertain you in the meantime, but can't do either. So, but you do want to get this mixed well, as with most of these kinds of mixtures.
It's mixing pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you're always going to hear that little granular in there, but it's going in pretty well. So we'll give it a little time here. One of the things you don't want to happen is you don't want the butter to separate. So if you kind of group it all up here in a corner, if you look over here, you'll see the butter.
Yeah.
Okay, you're trying your best to
get that
out of there. The best you can.
Yes.
Alrighty. If you folks who are looking at this video, if you want to leave a message, just tell me where you're watching it from and what the weather is by you. I would enjoy seeing that. But if it's over 85 degrees, I don't want to hear it.
We'll take 35.
Yeah, it has been ridiculous. However, the snow quantity so far has been light.
Yes.
So that's a plus. All right. What do you think, hon?
Beautiful.
That looks like it's mixed pretty good?
Good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now we're going to add the vanilla and the egg. So that's going to go in now. This is one egg, one large egg. I'm going to put that in there. Get in there. Okay. And the vanilla will go again in there shortly. I forgot how much am I putting in. I think it's a teaspoon. Yeah. All right. Let me get this mixed well. As I said, the oven's now preheated to 350. I think I said that. Okay, and then we'll put a teaspoon of vanilla extract in there. Those the halves. Okay, my 1 teaspoon is right here. We'll put that in now. Close that up. Now, the longest prep of this, I found, was really dicing up the 2 apples. The apples I'm using are called Envy, E-N-V-Y. To be perfectly candid with you, I had never heard of them until about 2 weeks ago. Where have I been? If you can't find Envy, I believe Jazz apples are comparable. And if you look up, you probably find some other substitutes that are fairly the same. Okay. So I think that's looking pretty good.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to take the flour mixture that we made earlier, and we're going to blend it here. Taking that now, I'm going to put that in. Now, one of the keys to this is not to overmix, because we found that overmixing does make the cupcake or the roll or whatever you're making, they tend to become a little dense. So you're trying your best not to overmix it. I know a lot of you who are not familiar with this might be saying, well, what does that mean? Well, that's a good question. The best I can tell you is all I try to do is to make sure I have an even appearance, even color, and try to get most of the flour coloration to disappear. I don't know if that's helpful or not. And as you'll see, this is going to be a very thick batter because obviously, since we're calling these apple Blondie cupcakes, I still have to put apples in here. The apples have been diced. There are 2 Envy apples have been diced into about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And you know, like I said, I always get a kick out of these recipes. Since I'm not a baker by any means, though I do my share of baking things, the terminologies always kind of confuse me a little bit. Also, for any of you bakers out there, if you can explain to me what is really meant by don't overmix and how one can tell whether you've overmixed or not, besides the method I'm using, which I said was to make sure there was no more real visible flour. Now, hold on a second, babe. Let me just get a little spoon here so I can get this out of there. Yeah, I want to get that out of there. Probably a whisk is probably not the best tool for this.
Well, you've got a spatula too.
Yeah,
you could
you
try
probably
that.
could use the spatula, which I will be using when I fold in the apples.
Yeah.
I just want to get most of this out of there. And then try to complete the process here. Well, you folks can look at it yourself and you can write to me and tell me if you think that was mixed appropriately, overmixed, or whatever. Okay? Alrighty, so now...
a little flour over here.
Well, yeah, the trouble is,
a
I don't
little.
know if I'm going to get to it
Yeah.
all, and I don't want to, quote,
Overmix, yeah.
overmix, whatever that means. So we'll see. I'm sure they'll come out delicious anyway. All right, with that now, I'm going to, one more time, just to clean this out, and then I'm going to switch over to the spatula. And I do these in the hope that some folks write to me and give me some, better advice
Suggestions,
on
yeah.
how they do it and how it should be done. See, I was always mostly interested in how the final product tastes, but obviously I've learned since then that the final product taste is based on how well you prepared it. So All right. I'm now going to finish this up with the apples. Again, I'm going to dump that in there. I'll start with maybe half of the quantity, and we'll do a little folding. Looks like a lot of apples.
It does. Uh-oh.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, if this never gets published, number one, you will never known it. And the reason will be because I couldn't make them into cupcakes. But we'll see. All right. Gonna throw the rest of it in.
Let's see what happens.
Here it goes. Again, this is a first time recipe for me. Looked delicious. It looked simple enough, which it was. I don't like to mess with a new recipe. I always like to try the original recipe when I do it for the first time. That way I can't say, oh, it doesn't work or it doesn't taste good. I want to make sure I do it the way it was composed. And then if it's something I want to tweak later on, that's a different story. Can you hear that? You can hear that wind out there.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. What were we going to say, Ben?
It doesn't look like that much anymore. It looks okay. We'll see.
We'll see. And again, I'm folding this in, so this is not going to be a big mix at all. Just trying to get you the very best you can, as quickly as you can, an even distribution of the apples. What do you think, hon?
I think it looks good.
Right?
Yeah.
Say that's fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You're gonna move the, yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to see what the easiest way would be to get this in there. First, I'm going to try a ice cream scoop and see how that does. See how that works out.
It smells good. Oh.
Yeah, I think that'll,
that'll
probably
work.
What do you think? 2 scoops? Or
Yeah, or 1.5. Try.
Well, you know what? Let me go around.
Mm-hmm. First, okay.
And then I'll see, you know, that way I know at least I've got all 12 made. And then we can go around
Right.
and top it off. So while I'm doing this, when I come back, I'll let you know how much I use in each scoop, and we'll see what it looks like. Way back. And if you look down here, I have completed putting them in. I used this 2-inch ice cream scooper. Okay, it was 2 inches, in case you want to know what I was using. I went all around first with 1 scoop, and then I went around filling them up. So roughly about 1.5 scoops for each one. Do your best to measure it, because it's just enough to make a dozen. Just enough. So that's where we are there. Again, the oven is heated up at 350. I'm going to put these in. Cook time, according to the recipe, is 18 to 22 minutes. When you see that kind of a range, what they're telling you is keep an eye on it. And you know, you can check as usual for cookedness in the center with the usual toothpick or knife method, whatever you use. So I'm putting this in now. Yeah, all right, I'm closing that up. I'm going to set the time. Again, 18 to 22 is their recommendation. So I'll be setting it to the higher end, and I'll be keeping an eye on it. So, we'll be back as long as we don't freeze to death, and we'll take a look at them. Be right back. All right, we're done here. The baking is complete. Here they are just coming out of the oven. They look good, and they certainly smell very good. So I'm going to let this cool. Okay, I'm going to let that cool. And when they're cool enough to get out, we'll taste them and see how they are. Oh, and by the way, I've had some comments as to what kind of muffin pan I'm using here. This is a Trudeau silicone muffin pan with a metal frame on the outside, so therefore it's not ridiculously flimsy. As you can tell, I have no problem holding it. And it's amazing because, believe me, when these are cooled, All I do is just push them out, pop them up from the bottom, and they come right out with no sticking. It's a great product. So, and I got no business with Trudeau. I'm just pointing out it works out real well. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, apple blondie cupcakes are done, and here they are. A nice dozen. They came out very easily out of that nice silicone pan. And we're going to try and taste them. So I'm going to grab one of them. Just going to cut it in half. Excuse me. There's your filling there.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
And I'm going to take a bite. Excuse me. Here we go. Very tasty. Very moist. Quite delicious. Honey, you like to try it?
Oh, sure. Very good.
So, from the Insecure Chef and his wonderful wife.
Have a great day. Stay warm.
Yes, please. Thank goodness the weather's starting to change. Sun's actually out. And enjoy the Blondie cupcakes. Thanks again. Please have your friends subscribe. Say hello to everybody and take care.